Boxing Truth here. Had to talk a little bit about Guillermo Rigondeaux. He's in a tough situation right now politically in the boxing world. He's got a fight coming up on March 12th against Jazza Dickens, a British level fighter. It's just a stay busy fight. At least Rigondeaux's being active right now. That's the one thing Rock Nation has been able to turn around. They're getting them active. However, the big fights that Rigondeaux craves, the big money fights in his weight class, that's a whole nother issue. That's going to be a big problem. Not even Rock Nation, I think, can really solve this issue. Fortunately, Rigondeaux's being boxed out by the politics, and he's been talking a lot of trash on social media. He wants Carl Frampton. He wants Santa Cruz. However, those two guys just have other options right now. They got bigger money options on the table. I mean, this is prize fighting. You're going to go after the biggest prize as a prize fighter. And right now, Rigondeaux just doesn't bring the type of money to the table that a potential Carl Frampton-Santa Cruz fight will. Carl Frampton, he's got options. He's not going to... Why is he going to fight a no-name Shinko Wake, his IBF mandatory, who's being mandated to fight for less money? And why is he going to fight Rigondeaux to defend his WBA strap for less money when he could easily just vacate those two belts because he's been in that weight division his entire career? There's rumors surfacing that he's having trouble making weight. So why not just vacate both of those belts, move up in weight, challenge Leo Santa Cruz, who is also advised by Al Heyman just like Frampton is, for the biggest money fight that he could get for Leo Santa Cruz's WBA strap at featherweight, an opportunity to become a two-division champion in a more higher profile fight against one of Heyman's favorite fighters in the stable, whose fan base is growing out there in the West. Why fight Rigondeaux when he has the opportunity to be a two-division champion in a bigger money fight against Santa Cruz? It's a no-brainer. He's gonna vacate the titles, most likely, move up in weight, and fight Santa Cruz. And Santa Cruz, that fight with Santa Cruz should have happened a long time ago. Rigo and Santa Cruz were in negotiations. This is around the time when Golden Boy ended their business dealings with Al Heyman. The deal where De La Hoya settled with Heyman, and Heyman pretty much shitted on Oscar, took all of his army of fighters with him, and left him with a couple of fighters that Golden Boy still had him on the contract. I believe it was Paul Malignaggi was one of them, and Leo Santa Cruz was the other. He was still under contract with Golden Boy when Golden Boy and Heyman reached a settlement deal to pretty much end their business relationship. Anyways, De La Hoya, knowing that he still had Santa Cruz under contract, he tried to negotiate a fight with Rigondeaux's team for a fight with Leo Santa Cruz. And Al Heyman, he heard of the dealings going on between Oscar and trying to match Santa Cruz, who was still advising, against Rigondeaux. And Heyman, like he's done with other fights before in the past, he blocked that fight. He blocked that fight from happening. He bought Leo Santa Cruz's contract out from Golden Boy. And Santa Cruz, because of that, has being called a pussy, a ducker, for not fighting Rigondeaux. But the truth is, he has no control of who he fights. He doesn't pick his opponents. He can only fight who Al Heyman tells him to fight, because Al Heyman has him on lock. It's already been proven. He bought him out from his contract, blocked the fight with Rigondeaux, and Santa Cruz was upset. He stated that he wanted an explanation from Heyman, and this is what Heyman told him. That's not the biggest fight out there for you. There's other bigger opportunities and bigger fights that can be made. And that was his explanation. Now, I believe Santa Cruz would fight Rigondeaux. I mean, who's scared to fight Rigondeaux? Honestly, after that performance against Adrian Francisco, you really think people are having the jitters, having nightmares of fighting Rigondeaux after the way Rigondeaux performed his last fight? He didn't look the fighter of old. He didn't look like an elite fighter his last fight. He played tag with his opponent on that undercard of Cotto Canelo, his last fight against Rion Francisco. He landed less than 80 punches. Didn't even land anything powerful. Looked like he wasn't in the best of shape. Looked like maybe perhaps he had an injury. Who knows? But he wasn't performing at the level people are accustomed to. He wasn't that explosive. He wasn't powerful, and he was playing tag with his opponent. So fighters around the weight class are gonna watch that fight and like, seriously, this is all this guy. I'm scared to fight this guy, and this guy couldn't even hurt a no-hoper his last fight. Couldn't even look spectacular. So I don't think any super bantamweight in the world is getting the jitters fighting Guillermo Rigondeaux. No. It's just that he doesn't bring the best available opportunity that name fighters like Carl Frampton and Santa Cruz could get. They could simply fight each other and make more money. Of course, Rigondeaux wants to fight Frampton. He's the money guy in the division. He makes the most money in the super bantamweight division. But he's got other plans. He's going to move up, most likely. And he's going to look for bigger opportunities. And right now, that's not a Rigondeaux fight. And Rigondeaux, he really has nothing to look forward to. He had an opportunity to get a Lomachenko fight last year, but he had second thoughts about that fight because he knows Lomachenko is a threat. I mean, he thought about it. All right, I'll move up in weight, fight a guy who's bigger than me. He's fought at a heavier weight in the amateurs. He's won 2 gold medals in the Olympics just like I did. He's bigger, stronger, just as athletic as me, also just as skilled as me. Yeah, he had second thoughts about that fight. First, he wanted a catchweight. He didn't want to give in to all the advantages because, honestly, I pick Lomachenko to beat Rigondeaux right now. He's bigger, stronger, just as skilled, and he's won 2 gold medals just like Rigo. And he's younger, fresher, stronger, and bigger. He has all the advantages. So Rigondeaux, he knew that was a tough fight, so he wanted one advantage. He wanted a catchweight, and he also wanted to be dueling compensated. But unfortunately, those guys just don't bring in the fan base, the money that can be generated to fulfill both guys' wishes, especially Rigondeaux. This guy wanted $1.5 million for the fight, and there was only $1.5 million available from the HBO license fee. And now, ever since that dreadful performance against Rion Francisco, HBO's not even interested anymore. Bob Arum's not even interested anymore. Lomachenko, Bob Arum, top ranked, they moved on. Lomachenko's most likely going to move up in weight to fight Walters. And so that ship has sailed. And Rigondeaux, all he could do now is hope for the best for March 12th, try to look spectacular in this fight. He's got another opponent who is not highly rated, pretty much British level. So he needs to look spectacular in this fight. Otherwise, if he has another performance like that, I mean, the networks are already not interested in Aaron Rigondeaux. They're already not. HBO's not interested. I mean, Rigondeaux's had some shitty performances in his career. There's been some performances he's looked spectacular. I thought he looked very good in the Donier fight. He looked spectacular against Rico Ramos, his first title-winning opportunity. Ramos, I know he's no world beater. I know that. He's a flawed fighter. He's looked spectacular in other performances, some knockout wins. But he's also had performances where he's looked absolutely. He's a pain to watch. He's had some really dull performances. I mean, that one performance against Cordoba, I think it was he was fighting a very experienced fighter on the card of Pacquiao and Margarito. Just stunk the joint out, bored everybody to death, left a sour taste to boxing fans and HBO as well, who were airing the fight. Then he does it again when he fought at Becco. He was the main event that night. It was on HBO. The undercard was James Kirkland versus I forgot his first name. His last name is Tapia. He's from New Jersey, from Passaic. A junior middleweight fighter. And that ended up being a great fight. And then after that fight, everybody left. and the main event came on between Rigondeaux and Abeko, and there was barely 60 people in the arena. A top-ranked employee actually counted how many people were in the arena during Rigondeaux's fight with Abeko. Boxing is a TV business now. If you can't get on TV, you're not going to get big fights. If the networks are not going to approve of you of being on a network, you're not going to get any big fights. And Rigondeaux is in a tough spot. He's got Rock Nation backing him now. They're putting some money. They're throwing some money. They're paying him all right purses, but he's not going to get the big fights. And Rock Nation has yet to do business dealings with Al Heyman. So Rigondeaux, he has no options after this fight. He's not going to get a big fight after this. There is another fighter at 122. He just won the WBC strap, Hugo Ruiz against Ceja, but I think he's also with Al Heyman. I think he's advised by Al Heyman as well. And he's trying to duck a rubber match with Julio Ceja, which is bullshit. I mean, Julio Ceja gave him a rematch. He might as well give Ceja a third fight because he landed a punch and broke his ankle. I mean, that's unfortunate. So, I mean, Ceja didn't have to give him a rematch, but he did. So Ruiz needs to return the favor. Besides, what other money fight can he get right now? What more significant fight can he get? He might as well fight Ceja again because those two make for exciting fights. And yes, Ruiz has gotten the better on most of the action, but right now they're 1-1. They need to do it a third time. So that leaves another option out for Rigondeaux. Two belts are going to be vacated most likely, but the contenders in play for those belts, they're just not the most desirable fights for Rigondeaux. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. What can Rigondeaux do to get a big fight? To get a fight where people want to see him in? Because Rigondeaux, he's got what, 16 fights. He turned pro in 2009. Very slow progression in his career. He had the Donier fight, and then has done nothing ever since. He's been fighting in Japan. Now he's fighting in the UK, but not against the best available or name opponents out there. I mean, here are the fights I would love to see Rigo fight. But it needs to be with a certain style, because a Frampton fight, I have no interest in that fight. That fight it has snooze fest written all over it. It's two boxers. You thought Frampton was boring? That's going to be even beyond boring. Two boxers posing at each other, not many punches landed. That's exactly what's going to happen in a Frampton Rigondeaux fight. So I have no interest in that fight. But I like to see Rigo fight Hugo Ruiz. I would like to see Rigo fight Leo Santa Cruz, but Al Heyman won't let him fight him. That's the problem. Al Heyman's just not going to let him fight Rigondeaux because he has bigger money fights on the table. He'd rather match him with Frampton, Gary Russell, and Lee Selby, guys he advises. Keep it in-house. Why mess with Rigondeaux? So that's what they're going to do. But I would like to see a Santa Cruz Rigondeaux fight down the road. I give Santa Cruz a hell of a shot of beating Rigondeaux. I mean, I wasn't impressed with what I saw Rigondeaux's last fight. I didn't see a world beater. I didn't see an elite fighter. I think Santa Cruz has a hell of a chance to beat Rigondeaux. If that's the Rigondeaux, that's what he has left. I mean, that's what he's performing now. I need to see more. I need to see how he does against Jazzy Dickens. But judging from his last performance, that fighter's not going to beat a Santa Cruz. He can't play tag with Santa Cruz or land less than 100 punches in a fight in hopes of beating. Santa Cruz is too busy. He's also bigger and taller and throws a lot of punches. Yeah, he could be outboxed. Rigondeaux has the footwork, athleticism to make it difficult. But Leo Santa Cruz is going to bring it to him. He would bring it to him. He'll make him fight. He'll make him feel his age too. I mean, he'll be fighting a younger, in his prime guy who averages 100 punches a round. Not a big puncher, but he can break you down. He could chop you down and make you gas out and tired because he keeps throwing punches at you. So that's no easy fight for Rigo. I'd like to see it, but it's not going to happen. Not for the time being. Not now. Probably Probably not ever. But sucks for Rigondeaux. He's boxed out because of politics, been stripped of all his titles because he doesn't make the purses that like a Floyd Mayweather or Andre Ward do. They were able to keep their belts for even without making mandatory defenses because of their purses. But Rigondeaux is not making that type of money, so he got stripped of everything because of his inactivity. And he was inactive for 11 months, ended up getting stripped. But yeah, nothing to look forward to for Rigondeaux. But y'all let me know what y'all think. What can Rigondeaux do? This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.